The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
Bronxnet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Next on the Bronx Journal, the Afro-Latino Forum, New York Street Vendors, and Independent Director Jesus R.
You're watching the Bronx Journal, the Bronxnet television edition of the multilingual community newspaper, published by the students and faculty of the Journalism, Communication, and Theater Department at Lehman College. In print and on television, the Bronx Journal covers the issues concerning the people of the Bronx. Do you want to know what's going on in the Bronx? Are you interested in Bronx politics, sports, and entertainment? Are you interested in Bronx personalities? Do you want to keep up with the latest business or cultural trends? In the Bronx Journal, we have the answers.
Welcome to the Bronx Journal. I'm Charles Reynoso. What does it mean to be black, to be Latino, to be both? Race, nationality, color, and identity are often topics many of us shy away from. However, today's guests, Mr. Josue Perea and Michael Lopez, represent the Afro-Latino Forum, an organization dedicated to bringing awareness to the issue of race and understanding to the struggle for social justice. Simply put, they answer the question, is race still an issue within the Black and Latino community? If so, how do we deal with it? Mr. Perea, Mr. Lopez, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for the invite.
Glad to be here.
Well, let's jump right into it. Is race still an issue within the Black and Latino community?
I would say, and I'm going to just start, I would say that let's rephrase that question. So let's say, is race an issue between the African American and Latino community? Because blackness is a very diverse term. So I'm sure when we mean is race an issue between the Black and Latino community, what we're thinking is that black is only African American, but in reality, what we really want to say is that people who are black can speak many languages, and so they don't only speak English. So is race an issue for the African American and Latino community? Yes, it's a big issue. It's a bigger issue within the Latino community because it gets denied. And part of what we do at the forum is try to bring that discussion into the forefront and say we should talk about the issues of race. We shouldn't ignore them or hide them away as people try to do. I don't know if you agree with
me. No, my answer to that question is absolutely. I think it's a constant issue and one that like Josue said, it's one that I think we often try to shy away from, and we often try to neglect and say that it's not an issue, but it's absolutely a consistent issue.
Now, I said black, and you say African American. Then what does it mean to be black? Can a Latino be black?
Of course a Latino can be black. I think blackness has been understood within a U.S. context as a specific idea, right? So blackness is mainly only of African Americans, or at least people understand blackness to be only owned by people of African descent who speak English, really. But the experience of black people throughout the world is diverse. Most of, during the Atlantic slave trade and the entire of enslaved people that were forced into slavery, that created a diaspora of black people throughout the hemisphere and throughout the entire world. So you see black people everywhere. So when we say black, I think people sometimes think African American, but in reality we're saying African American. Blackness can be anything. Can a Latino be black? Of course, because a Latino just speaks a different language than a person who's African American.
And I think the concept that a Latino can't be black, or that only African Americans in the U.S. context are black, so using this terminology for African Americans negates an entire group of people whose phenotype appears black. And so I think one of the huge issues for the Afro-Latino community is that blackness is a part of my identity. And if it's not, then who am I? Because when I look in the mirror, I see black.
Right. There's one scholar who says that you can say you're not black, but when you walk down the street, that's the test. And you yourself, when I walk down the street, when other people walk down the street, the first way that people experience us are as black men. Then when they find out our language, then it's a different setting. But the experience is as a black man. And I think that's a main responsibility that experientially a lot of Latinos have treated as black.
So do you feel that there are Latinos who are in denial about their blackness?
Without question. And I think that has a lot to do with intra-Latino prejudice against blackness. And because of many factors, including the enslavement that occurred, as Josue put forward earlier, I think that's a huge issue as to why we negate our own blackness. It's very common in many cultures to deny that part of yourself or to see blackness as something that's evil. One quote that always shocks me from Oscar Wilde's book, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. This book, there was a quote where he says, "Yo soy negra, pero no soy estúpida." And it's just this, it connotes this concept that because you're black, you're stupid, right? And this is part of the issue that's part of our culture, which we want to deny and negate because we don't want to be considered racist. And it happens in the Caribbean, it happens in all over Latin America, and it's a common trait. So we kind of we try to deny that blackness, but I don't think we really can.
Right. I think we have the Latino community overall, especially in the U.S., not only in the U.S., but in Latin America, Latin American community and the Latino community in the U.S. has this idea of this cosmic race, or that we're all brothers because we're all from the same country. So, we're there, no es un problema porque yo soy colombiano como tú. So it's not an issue of that there's a race, because primarily is nationality is what connects us. When we come to the U.S., it's culture. We're all alike. We all talk the same thing. We all eat the same foods. But in reality, there are a lot of experiences where that same family who said that won't allow their daughter or their son to marry a black person, a black Latino. And so then that's where you see that racism is something that happens in the Latino community and gets ignored.
Or even that you better the race by marrying someone who's white. Or light, not necessarily white, but lighter skin.
So you feel like light-skinned Latinos, do you feel like they are prejudiced against their darker counterparts, or darker Latinos? Do you think they discriminate against them more strongly than, let's say, anyone else who would be able to see them? Do you feel like there's stronger discrimination within the Latino community?
There's a strong discrimination within the Latino community. I don't want to say that only the Latino community denies people who are Afro-Latino. It's just, racism is just a concept that exists. So it doesn't belong to one group. It doesn't belong to Caucasian Americans more than it belongs to white Latinos. It's just a problem that belongs to everyone, and that people that we have to experience and that we have to solve. I do think that there are ways in which Afro-Latinos are denied and are subjugated to a lesser role within the Latino community. But I think one of the reasons for that, or one of the main reasons for that, is the lack of understanding that we have about diversity within the Latino community. So there's this big idea that we're all, one group of people just because we all speak one language, and we miss that there is a big diversity there, and we don't allow people to be themselves and to express that diversity. Yeah. And because they can't express that diversity, then that's where you get the ignorance and the denial, and that's what happens.
Yeah. I think your question is a good clarifying question, because what I want to emphasize is that what we're not saying is that lighter-skinned Latinos are the ones who are solely racist. I think people on whatever part of the color spectrum you are can have prejudice tendencies, and this is not saying an issue versus light-skinned versus dark-skinned Latinos. I don't think that's what we're highlighting, because some of the biggest prejudiced people can be people who are of darker skin.
All right.
So tell me about the organization. What is the Afro-Latino Forum? Who are its founders? Why the need for an organization?
So the Afro-Latino Forum is an organization that was founded in about 2005, 2006. It's mainly a resource center and a research center that connects different people who are doing research on Afro-Latinos within the U.S. So the focus of the Afro-Latino Forum is to focus on Latinos of African descent in the United States. And we connect people who are doing research on that. We also connect people who are Afro-Latino and try to highlight the influence of Afro-Latinos in different spectrums of American society. So for example, one of the first events that we did was on celebrating Latino influence in hip-hop. You know, many people have forgotten that Latinos were very instrumental, specifically Afro-Latinos were very instrumental to the bringing about of hip-hop here in the Bronx. And so that's actually something that we try to highlight. We try to highlight the role of Afro-Latinos in American society.
What are some examples of some Afro-Latinos who've been a big part in, like, let's say just the hip-hop in New York? Tell me about that.
The hip hop, there are many. I mean, I don't know. That's a big question.
Oh, okay.
But
there are a couple of names.
There are many different artists who are Latino. So, for example, one recent one that comes to mind is Fabulous. Mm-hmm. Fabulous is a rapper, very well-known rapper who's popular. It's another one whose name is Noriega, another guy who's popular. There were a lot of breakdancers early during when hip hop was starting to come out from the Bronx. Mm-hmm. Actually, most of the best breakdancers were Latino. So Crazy Legs was a Latino breakdancer that people sometimes don't realize that he was Latino.
Now, I think that's something major in media. A lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of people who everyone believes are African American, but are in fact Latino. Can you give me just a few examples? Because I know I was in complete shock when I found out Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was Dominican, and I was like, mi pana, and I didn't know.
Well, I think one of the issues that you brought up earlier was just the issue of race and identity in our country, and how we want to categorize everything, and I think that's a human trait. And it's probably a pretty good one, and has a lot of good reasons and uses. But I think our need to categorize everything sometimes puts us in this place where we're like, you're black and you're white, and that just makes things easier. The Knicks are a really popular team right now. Their star player, Carmelo Anthony, is Puerto Rican and African American, and so is his wife, Lala. So, and they're hugely a part of our culture right now in our society.
Like the Cruz of the New York Giants?
Yeah.
Right, and Victor Cruz is because of his name, but many people did.
And because of the salsa dancing.
Because of the salsa dancing, but some people didn't see. Carlton's name is Alfonso Ribeiro, right? So he's a Dominican, Afro-Dominican brother. There are many. I mean, back in the days, people didn't know that Sammy Davis Jr. was Afro-Latino. His mom was Cuban. People didn't know that Reggie Jackson's first name is Hernandez. Hernandez, right? Yeah. And he's Puerto Rican. His father was Puerto Rican.
And Bernie Williams.
Bernie Williams is a Puerto Rican player. And I think people don't know because of the name, right? So Bernie Williams doesn't sound Puerto Rican, but he's very Puerto Rican. Current day stars, you have Zoe Saldana, who continues. She's known as Latina. She's known as Afro-Latina. She continues to play. She plays a lot of African-American roles. There are many Cuban actors today that continue to play African-American roles, but are African-American and but are Afro-Latino. And it's not a problem that they're playing an African-American role. It's just highlighting the fact that Latinos who are black are labeled by the mass media as black. And then it's interesting that then when they go to the Latino community, they're not themselves black. So, for example, Cristina Milian, who's a singer, she's also Afro-Latina, and she says it all the time, I'm Afro-Latina, but people don't see her as that. People see her as African-American. So it's always interesting the experience that people get when they admit that they're Afro-Latino.
Yeah. And I think one of the way our culture causes this Cristina Milian issue, where I'm trying to say I'm both, and you keep making me one or the other. And I find, I'm an educator in Harlem, and have been for 6 years now, and I meet a lot of Afro-Latinos and young teenagers who struggle with their identity because they don't know who they are, or they know who they are, but they feel that they've been forced to choose one way or the other, and that's the most comfortable thing for them because they're accepted by the Spanish group, which I think is very unfortunate that we continue. As far as we've come, our own community continues to use this term Spanish to identify ourselves. And so I say, I'll say to my friend, I'm Spanish, when he answers me. I'm not African American, I'm not black. or one or the other, or you have to say you're black because of your skin type. Or then when you tell people, then they say no. Wait, no, you're black. No, because look, your hair, your complexion. So, the issue with that is not so, I'm not looking as a counselor and as an educator. What I look at not only is the cultural aspect of it, but the effect that it has on the person. Mm-hmm. Because if you have to negate a part of yourself, then you're losing your identity, and you're losing who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going. And we don't know where you're going. We have the issues that so many of our Afro-Latinos go through, which I think Josue could speak to more, which is how many of them are in prison? How many of them are not going into further education?
I know that there are so many people who want to know more. How can we get in contact with the Afro-Latino Forum? How can we hear more, know more, learn more about this?
So the best way is obviously our website, where it's www.afrolatinoforum.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. So this is the best way to contact us for there. We also have statistics there. We also have conferences there. We have examples of the work that we do, and we do many different types of work throughout the year. And you can see our information there, and there's also a contact form there.
Well, thank you both for coming. It was a pleasure. And we'll be back with more of the Bronx Journal.
I think it breaks a little to the left.
To the right.
Nope, straight.
I told you it was going right.
Get up, get up, get up, and be a player. Get up, get up, get up. Get up, get up, get up, and be a player. Get up, get up, get up. Get up, get up, get up, and be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day.
For fun playtime ideas, go online. Just don't stay long.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
Big dreams and good grades aren't enough to get into college. There are actual steps you need to take. Finding someone who can help is the first and most important. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
Welcome to the Bronx Journal. I'm Steven Diaz. During the spring, summer, and fall, there are street vendors all over New York. But what you don't know is that some of these vendors are able to sell these fruits with the help of Vamos Unidos. Previously, vendors were subject to arrest and harassment by police, with regular fines and confiscation of merchandise. Now, with the help of Vamos Unidos, things have changed. Street vendors throughout New York City now have increased access to permits and have built better relations with police. With us today to tell us more about Vamos Unidos are Maria Huerta and Fernando Venancio. Hi, you guys. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
All right, I want to ask you, what does Vamos Unidos, what does it mean?
So Vamos Unidos, as you know, it's a Spanish word. So it's vendedores ambulantes movilizando y organizando en solidaridad. So Unidos, in English, as you would know, would be unity. So street vendors organizing, mobilizing, and solidarity.
When did you guys start? Like, what year did you guys start actually with the green cards and like vendors and everything?
Well, we actually initially started, a couple of years back around 2004. And we actually came out from another organization called Esperanza del Barrio, which is located in El Barrio in Manhattan. And there was a couple of vendors that actually wanted to organize in the Bronx. So they felt that need, and our director, Rafael Samanes, actually decided to move and organize a new type of organization dedicated to the needs and of its members, which as you know now, it's called Vamos Unidos.
Is it just about food, or is it all about any other vendors?
Well, it's about just street vendors in general, just trying to have solidarity with other groups, whether it's helping other students, trying to helping them provide a better school system for them, and also providing more jobs to the community, since as we know today, the economy is really bad. So we're just trying to help them out.
Do you have any challenges that you face, or still to this day, or?
Well, the challenge we face is the caps on the permits. That that's where we actually that's one of our main campaigns. So back in 1979, we had a cap on food processing carts of 3,100. So a lot of the vendors have to sell without permit because of that. So that's one of our main focus right now, to try to increase the caps, and that's with the New York City Green Card Initiative allows actually for that cap to grow, even though it's not exactly the food processing or the merchandise, but it does allow other families to have that access to the green cards.
Why did you guys actually start this, though? Vamos Unidos. Why did you guys start it?
Because we actually, some of them that were going to Esperanza del Barrio felt, it's just kind of like a community organization, just trying to provide services to the community, educating them on their rights. But what Vamos Unidos was just trying to focus on the street vending, because street vending provides jobs in the low-income communities. So, a lot of them are predominantly Mexican and Ecuadorian from Latin America, and because they lack the knowledge, whether it's in a job or, the language barrier, street vending kind of breaks that barrier, and that allows them for them to have, an income, so they could provide for their families and other families as well.
And also because we have seen that a lot of the street vendors were facing police arrest. They were facing a lot of ticketing by the police, and also they were, many times they've been facing physical abuse and also verbal abuse. So they were to the point that they know they needed to be organized, and that's when they started to have the idea to start an organization.
So how did you convince the city to to help the vendors out through you guys? How did you overcome this?
Well, at the beginning we kind of had a little bit of resistance by police prisons and stuff, but as we started showing some type of presence in these prisons that we do actually care about the community, and we're trying to provide for our families and our children, they kind of saw the sense of unity in that. And as an organization, our job is to try to unify the community as a whole. And that kind of the cops saw these, the police saw actually this unity, and they were like, sure, why not? Let's support them. And various council members saw the need that we're in the economy is really bad right now. So if street vending does provide an opportunity for these families to have some type of income, providing for their children and whatever the case may be, and feeding around. Not only jobs, but just trying to give back to the community. Sometimes, when it comes to street vending, you see these businesses that might sell just their food a little bit more. Yeah. So street vendors, they should sell it at a low cost. You could probably get a taco for $2 rather than going to McDonald's for a meal $6. And some of them don't have enough money for that. So they just see it kind of a quick fix for that.
Like pasteles, I know a lot of pasteles, they eat all that. And can you tell us about the current campaign about the decrease for $1,000 fines and
So actually last week we had a rally at we actually had it downtown in City Hall.
Was it a march?
It was a march/protest right in front of City Hall, demanding that we're actually heading legislation 434 and 435. So what 434 does is it lowers the fines from $1,000 to $250, because as we know, some of them they only make probably $40, $50 maximum per day. So $1,000 is it's kind of an unjust ticketing thing for them, because they can't even provide sometimes for the family. They have to not only feed their kids, they have to feed other people as well. So that's what 434 does. Now 435, what it does is that legislation stops the stacking of tickets. So you can't get just a ticket straight up. You can't get a ticket to $1,000. The cop or the health department, when they go in, you have to get like fined for the same thing 5 times before you could get a $1,000 fine. So that lowers it, because sometimes some of them are kind of adjusting. They're like, oh, you don't have gloves, which is a health problem.
Health hazard.
A health hazard. So, if you get caught that for 5 times, then that's when they can fine you for $1,000. I mean, and that benefits the families as a whole.
Is it because they're just street vendors that they're abused by cops like that?
I mean, I guess in a way, but at the same time, we gotta be conscious that they're not making a lot of money out of street vending. It's not a big business like McDonald's or any other business out there. So, they're just trying to provide for, 1 or 2 or 3 families.
Can you tell us about the arrest and fines for the working folks?
Still up to this day, we're still facing that big problem, because a lot of, like he's been mentioning, a lot of street vendors are getting ticketed by the police and by the health department. But the problem here is that they keep complaining about the street vendors. They keep blaming them for example, for throwing garbage, for keeping the streets not clean. But that's a myth, Basically, the street vendors are providing a lot of, for example, we have a campaign now going on in Vamos Unidos with a council member in Queens, Drum. We having a campaign saying that we have to keep our streets clean, and we really basically helping the city, in that. And I will say that the real problem here is that the city hasn't increased any car permits, which is the main root of the problem. And obviously, if we don't have, because we must have 2 licenses to be able to sell in the streets, which is the personal license and also the car license, for the cars. And then that's the one that we don't have it right now in available. So that's the big problem. So obviously, nobody's gonna spend $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 to buy a small car to sell their food, and then the health department is gonna come over and they're gonna take it away because they don't have the proper documentation.
How many carts are out there, and how many do you actually want out there?
Well, currently there's, like I told you before, there's a cap. So for food processing cars, like, the cars that are selling Mexican food or, Dominican food, whatever it may be, there's a cap on that, so that's 3,100. Wow. Now for merchandise, which is like books and stuff of that type, it's only 853, I believe. So now what the New York City Green Card Initiative does is that it increases, it gives some type of space to the street vendors, to provide for the community and their families. But we're trying to increase the cap of 3,100 and the 853 to try to, provide more jobs to others in the low-income communities. We don't just want to have a cap because that's kind of like limiting their, the ability to be able to provide for their families.
And imagine, we have a waiting list of around 20,000 people now, currently in New York City, waiting for somehow to get a car permit, which we've been saying that it's only 3,001 available right now, and that goes only by lottery. So let's say somebody is holding a license and they decide not to have the car anymore, and they decide to give it up. So it goes back to the lottery, so then the next person will be able to have the permit.
So you guys are Vamos Unidos, and is there any other organizations that compete with you guys?
Well, we don't believe in that competing thing. We're in that spirit of unity. So, there's the Street Vendor Project that also works on that, and there's a couple of other in New York City. But we're closely working with Street Vendor Project, and they also provide services and things of that sort, helping in our campaign, and vice versa.
Who runs Vamos Unidos? Is it one person or a lot of people?
Well, actually, that's that's our. That's the vision of Vamos Unidos. This is not run by just one person, but it's rather run by the membership itself, because they're the ones facing the problems out there. I can't say I'm not a street vendor. I'm just there to support them and try to guide them as best as I can. But the membership is the one that basically is kind of like our boss, telling us, oh, look, we need help in this, and we just provide whatever we can.
Yeah. In Vamos Unidos, the main goal is to create leadership between our members. We think that's the main goal, and that's the most important thing. So they can really speak for themselves, and they really can learn their rights, and they can really fight for their rights that have been taken, away.
So Vamos Unidos is all over, basically all over New York. And I want, for people out there, probably want to like open up their own vendors. Any way we could reach you guys so they could go through you guys?
Yeah, definitely. We're located in the Bronx in Fordham Road, and we have one office there. We have another one in Queens, Jackson Heights, and in Brooklyn, around the Church Avenue area. So, if you guys send an email at vamosunidos@gmail.com, or you just send us an email, we'll be able to get in contact with you as soon as possible.
Any phone numbers? Or?
Actually, the phone number's right here on my shirt.
Vamos Unidos?
Vamos Unidos right here.
So that's... all right.
Yeah, that's 718-312-8634.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more of the Bronx Journal.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
We can all be more energy efficient. It's easy. Use energy-saving light bulbs. Energy Smart Power Strips. And turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Learn what you can do today at energy.gov/tink.
When life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help Ativa and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
先生你好，歡迎光臨，等等先。唔該晒。
Brandon.
Welcome to the Bronx Journal. I'm Jalissa Quinones. Today with us, we have a young man whose career spans television, music, and film. In 2002, he developed his own TV show titled Eye on It TV, where the likes of 50 Cent, P. Diddy, Russell Simmons, Busta Rhymes, and many more have appeared. You may have seen his music videos, but that's not all. He has created his own organization called Guns for Cameras, with the mission of encouraging the youth to point and shoot with something with a positive message. We welcome to the show Jesus R. Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
So tell us a little bit about your brand entertainment, Eye on It TV.
Oh, Eye on It was the first show I started back in 2002, and it was kind of my entry into entertainment. Like I didn't go to school for communications. I didn't know anything about film, and I started the show with a mission of a different focus than a purpose for my own career of becoming a filmmaker.
So why do you name it Eye on It TV?
Well, at the time, it was about getting other kids, peers of mine, to focus more on their positive ambitions as opposed to what they were doing in the street. So Eye on It is to have like your eye on the prize, to have a direction of being focused on something. So it's just kind of the theme for being focused, having a vision to go somewhere.
What would you say inspired you, and when did this start?
Well, it started in 2002. Like I said, I didn't go to school, so I was kind of doing the wrong thing, and I was shot at 22 times in the streets. I got hit 3 times. I still have a bullet in my stomach, and that was like a turning point for me to want to do something different. And then also the fact that I survived, to be an inspiration to other people on the street that you can do something different. You don't have to live this lifestyle. So I never thought that my career would overshadow my story, my struggle. When I started, it was all about that, and then now my success is becoming much more than the incident that got me here.
So what kind of show was I on it? What was on it? What was based on? What was it based on?
It was it focused on putting shine on local talent, on independent music artists, but then I mixed it in with a lot of celebrity artists just to get the attention, to draw the attention to the show. So it's like, instead of being all big artists, it was a combination of both to bring attention to the up-and-coming artists.
I see that you have your own little slogan, directing is my hurrying, and shooting makes the pain go away. Can you like further explain what you're trying to say?
Directing is my heroin. You know, shooting makes the pain go away. It's like you shoot heroin, but I shoot cameras. But cameras are my addiction. So being a director, a filmmaker is what I'm addicted to, and it's part of my. It makes the pain go away. It makes, like, you know, nothing else matters.
How do you get all these big stars and to be part of your show, like P. Diddy, Busta Rhymes?
It's just it's work, you know. You work and you get a buzz and you build a name for yourself, and you know you got to be out there and be in the right place, and you build a reputation, and people like what you do, and then they want to be a part of it.
You mentioned your personal struggles. What were some of the challenges you think you went through to get to where you are today?
I've had quite a few challenges. I mean, being an entrepreneur and having your own business and not going the route of education and not having those types of resources, financial resources, having to do it on your own. So it's like every business that I started in the last 10 years, I've done it all from my own capital, building up from one business to the next. And I've had 6 or 7 offices, and now I just opened a new studio. So it's always a challenge each time you start a new brand and do it from scratch. So
you also created your own show and direct them. Tell us about directing. What's your experience directing? Like,
as far as shows, films, or videos, or like
shows and film, yeah.
Oh, with TV shows, I've done several shows. I just won my first Telly Award last year for a sports show that I directed. It was the #1 show in its market and got picked up for a 2nd season. I directed some shows for BET last year, with some segments for one of their specials, and I also did a cooking show that got picked up for Bravo. It was the highest rated premiere on Bravo last year. So I've been, but TV is not my thing. Like, I do that to stay in the game, but I really don't like television. My passion is for films, and I have fun with music videos.
So do you consider yourself an independent producer that gets hired by different programs?
Yes, director.
So I know you also was part of the Obama commercial, Vote for Our Future campaign. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us your experience about that? Yeah,
I did a commercial called Hope that aired on CNN. It was something that I was passionate about, getting him elected, so I volunteered a lot of my time. I donated money. I made phone calls, and then I put my craft to work. I directed a commercial to help support his campaign.
Where is your studio located?
On 135th, right here in the Bronx. And the website is Shoot HR. So that's like a play on me being shot, Jesus R Studios. So and the studio's named after me, so I'm like, shoot at Jesus R Studios. But since I literally been shot, it's shoothr.com. So it's just like, my friends think it's funny that I named my studio Shoot HR.
So where are you from? Are you from the Bronx or?
Upstate. My family's from Uruguay, in a small country in South America. And I grew up upstate for the most part, but I lived around the country. And
you've also done corporate commercials I've seen with Russell Simmons and Anna, the editor of Vogue. How was that experience, being able to work with such high figures like that?
Oh, it's great. And I think when I some of the people that I profile for those videos is more interesting than the celebrities I meet. Like yesterday, I did an interview with Rosie Rios, who's the U.S. Treasurer. So her name is like printed on every bill, and I got her to sign her name next to her name on the bill, which is like pretty cool. But little stuff like that, it's like, having the experience of traveling and meeting people that are good in their industry or have excelled or gotten to a high level. It's like I have a respect for people for where they have to get to, because I know how hard it was for me to get to where I am as a director. Right. So in every other field, it's like, I salute like I know she's doing her thing, so it was a pleasure to meet her.
Did you go to school, or was this just a passion you had since?
No, I didn't go to school. Self-taught, self-made.
Right. So I know you also was currently working on a film that's going to be released now in 2012 named Red Cloud.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that film?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that movie. I think it's my best work to date. RedCloudTheMovie.com.
Is it released already, or?
It's not yet.
Okay.
It's a short film. We shot it on a red camera with Cook lenses. It looks really dope. Shout out to my director of photography, Bob Blankmere, and the lead actor, Alex Cruz.
What is it about?
It has the lead character is Native American, and that's one of the things that attracted me to the project, because a lot of Hollywood, or none of the Hollywood films really place a Native American as a lead, and so we're building this franchise around this Native American action hero character, and he rents a room from a young mother, a single mother, and he starts to develop a bond with her child, and we start to see flashbacks into his life before and what happened in his past, and then I don't want to give away the climax, but it's like things get rough at the end of the film, and the dynamics between the relationship with them, and then his past comes back to play a part in what happens.
What do you enjoy about directing?
Well, I mean, as much it is working with the talent in front of the camera, it's also working with the talent behind the camera. So being a director, you're responsible for bringing all these creative elements together, and I really depend on my team. You know, without having a good team, you know, all these different things play a part: the lighting, the sound, the set design. So every little element is like crucial to what the final product comes across. And I'm have high attention to detail. So all the little things are important to me. But as much as I like bringing out the story and working with the emotions of the actor and the direction of the scene, I enjoy working with my crew just as much. We have a ton of fun on set, so we're always joking around and playing pranks on each other and just having a ball.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Bronx Journal.
Every year, mothers lose their babies to gun crimes. You'll always be your mother's baby. So before you commit a gun crime, think about who you'll leave behind. Gun crimes hit home.
Hi, I'm Miguel Pérez. I'm a professor here at Lehman College, and I'm also the host of the Bronx Journal, a television show produced by students in our multimedia journalism program. This is a workshop where students get hands-on broadcasting experience, and it's also a forum for presenting the issues and the people of the Bronx. Every 2 weeks, 2 journalism classes collaborate to produce the Bronx Journal. My students decide the issues that will be discussed, invite the guests, prepare the questions. Behind the cameras and in the control room, there's another class. It's taught by Professor Spencer Fearson, who is in the control room directing the program with his students. On the Bronx Journal, we give a voice to our community organizations, and we prepare the journalists of tomorrow.
Watch the Bronx Journal on Bronxnet Cablevision Channel 67 and Verizon Fios Channel 33.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
And we're back with director Jesus R. Tell us a little bit about the new video you have coming up.
Yeah, I just finished the video with an artist named Lady Red. She did a remix for 50 Cent's Shooting Guns song, and we shot the whole video at my studio, shoothr.com. And the first setup we shot in the main stage area. We wrapped the room, draped it in black, did a real dramatic lighting on a conference table with her and her crew, and they're toasting it out with a little champagne. And then we cut to the freight elevator where we lit that really nice with some backlighting and lens flares and doing some smoke with a smoke machine, and just made it really dramatic. Had her wrapping up against the gate with the gate down, and then we the story has a progression, so she kind of takes that up to the roof as part of the triumphant feel of the video. And we shot some scenes on the roof, spinning around with the train in the background and the skyline, so it was pretty cool. That's how we'll start hip hop.
Let's take a sneak peek at the video.
Nerve of these herds, I just got word from son. They was sleeping on your beauty, I respond like Call of Duty. My faculty in back of these, I got to pull like gravity. I'm the centerpiece, I bag them like it's Genevieve. Blow the whistle, I'm official course shots. Course sick time, I don't got it, I'm the boss. Been spitting miss, I get into ya. Packing Lucky Charms, cause I'm milking for your cereal. General, M-I-double-Z, run your salary. Used to be M-I-D-I, but now you're Lowry. They taking pictures, so I figured that it lasts long. Hating on me, then I fold them like a wonton. I keep a tip on that position like a forset. She plotting on me, but a shorty trying to get it wet. Dudes is shady, aftermath of they lady friend. If beef is real, why you send it on the BBM? I'm on the grind like coffee beans and gold weed. You ain't on my page, then get the magazine. You got up, I ain't talking Vaseline. I make them sick how I move, get the drama mean. And throwing dirt, have a cutty, make it muddy. Then throw it in the fryer, how I tell a bitch, hush puppy. And got mommy rocking poppy out the big chain. Boss lady married to the game, get the Vera Wang.
I know you have a lot of things going on, but aside from directing, you're also a brand architect. Can you tell us a little bit about that side of you?
Yes. For me, branding and filming go hand in hand, because any time that I'm like doing a music video, I think about how I want to present the artist to the market and how they need to be perceived to to really reach the market and make an impact of like what their brand is. And beyond film, I do that for actual products. I won a design award for a fragrance that I designed. I created the brand and did the packaging and the name and everything, and it was the #1 selling fragrance in London. And Kate Moss, Madonna, Michelle Obama, they all wore it, and they launched at Henry Bendel's on Fifth Avenue. So that was like a big success for somebody who's not even into fashion that much. It was like a side thing that I did. So it's a blessing to have a knack for certain things and when you meet and connect with different people, you know, the opportunities you can create from that. And I'm branding a hot sauce now, so that's doing the branding, the campaign, the commercial, all that.
So you did the brand and the fragrance itself?
I didn't do the scent.
Okay.
The scent was created by Michael Bodie. He's the #2 hairstylist in the world. I just did the name, the concept, the brand, the strategy, the direction.
And it's still out there, right?
Oh yeah, you can look it up. Bodicea of the Victorias. Okay. You can Google it.
So I know you also have a little role as a community activist since you were the founder of Guns for Cameras. Tell us a little bit about that organization, Guns for Cameras.
I started Guns for Cameras as, like when I did Eye on It, it was the focus of the show was to give highlight to other youth in the community. And then when I started to find some success from it, then I felt like I needed to give back in a more direct way. So as opposed to doing a show, an entertainment show, I wanted to create an organization that gave opportunity to other youth for the opportunities that I didn't have coming up. Like I didn't have any access to resources to do film without going to school or not being able to afford to go to school. So Guns for Cameras, the idea is you're still pointing and shooting something, but instead of pointing and shoot a gun that destroys life, you point and shoot a camera that creates life and creates opportunity, and it gives kids empowerment to put their art out there for whatever it is. The film medium spans across any industry. It's the most impactful form of communication that could reach a large audience. And so the theme is Aim to Live. And I speak around the country, spoke at Harvard, NYU, UCLA. I was the U.S. delegate representing the United States in 34 countries in the Western Hemisphere, and did an international forum. So, and that was art as a tool for violence prevention. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I definitely make the time to do that in addition to my career as a director.
And where is this organization taking place?
In New York.
Like in the Bronx, upstate?
It doesn't have a brick and mortar establishment. There's not like a center. It's more about promoting the message, and one of my focuses with the program is getting college students to work with kids in high schools, because a lot of times everything you need is right there. It's just a matter of making the connection and pairing up mentors sometimes, you know. So it's like I inspire them with my message so they understand where they come from, where they can get to, and then find people that can do the hands-on work with them to actually get something done. So
now, out of all the work you've done, which one would you say has made you the proudest?
That's tough. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know yet. I'm still like looking for that thing that's.
There's not one project you enjoyed the most, or.
I really enjoyed doing this film, Red Cloud. I've done a couple short films and a ton of videos. I was really proud of the music video I did last year for the Care for Haiti project. We premiered it on 106 in Park and MTV, but that was for a great cause, so I was really proud of that. It was with Wyclef and Melky Jean.
Right. What would you say to any inspiring director coming from a rough background as well?
Well, I mean, a rough background, or I mean, it's all relative. So anybody can have a rough background. It's a matter of how they grew up and what their circumstances are, because everybody feels pain from, like, even if you're in rich in the suburbs, like everything is relative to what you feel in life. We all have feelings. It's just a different level of what people have to deal with and what they're accustomed to dealing with. Like I don't think my growing up was so hard. You know, it's like because it was what I was used to. I didn't know any different. But somebody else might be like, wow, that was really tough. So for any directors, no matter where they come from, is try to find their voice of who they are and do projects that relate to their sensibilities, because that's what's going to come across sincere, as opposed to trying to be a voice of something else. So it's like tune into who you are and what you're you know, like what's in your soul, and let that come across in your work.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Doing movies. I'm going to try to get away from all the TV stuff. I'll still do some branding projects. I'm going really hard promoting my studio, shoothr.com. So that's fun doing that as a business, because it's like I can rent that out to other producers and directors and still direct something somewhere else. So it's nice to build that up and give other people opportunity to get there and create projects.
Where's the studio located again?
865 East 135th Street, right in the Bronx. So,
well, where can we contact you? Where can the people contact you?
shoothr.com.
Booking for the
Yeah, you go to
anything?
shoothr.com. Everything is on there, phone number, email.
All right, well, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And we'll be back with more of the Bronx Journal.